Welcome to today's presentation on organizational ethics. Giselle Melendez and myself, Chris Garcia, have put together the following presentation to review the organizational ethics within companies. We want to tie in how the organization's cultural and ethical work play a major role in how good ethics at work will also be a benefit for the company, the environment, as well as the employee. Faced with increasing pressure to create an ethical environment at work, businesses can take tangible steps to improve their ethical performance. The organization's culture and ethical work climate play a central role in promoting ethics at work. Ethical situations arise in all areas and functions of business, and often professional associations seek to guide managers in addressing these challenges. Corporations can also implement ethical safeguards to create a comprehensive ethics program. This can become a complex challenge when facing different customs and regulations around the world. The key learning objectives that we will be covering in this presentation are classifying an organization's culture and ethical climate, recognizing ethics challenges across the multiple functions of business, creating effective ethics policies, ethics reporting mechanisms, ethics training programs, and similar safeguards, assessing the strengths and weaknesses of a comprehensive ethics program, as well as understanding how to conduct business ethically in the global marketplace. As we look into classifying an organization's culture and ethical climate, we often look to things as personal values and moral character and the roles that they play. These two are very much interrelated and play a high role in defining the character that is seen in the company's culture as well as their climate. Many of the lessons learned from regulations put on to companies like Enron, Volkswagen, to WorldCom, those are examples of organizations that they had to work within the culture that they had to find manners to align gaps and also to prevent failures due to the fact that when you have a failure in one, ethics, quality, or safety, there's usually a combination of all three. The components of ethical climates: ethical criteria, focus of individual person, organizational, and society. We see within each how egoism, self-centered approach, which is self-interest, company interest, economic efficiency, benevolence, friendship, team interest, social responsibility, principle, personal morality, company rules, procedures, laws, and professional codes, how each of the different criteria to the person, to the organization, and society interchange and have impact within each other. Business ethics across organizational functions. Not all ethics issues in business are the same. Because business operations are highly specialized, ethics issues can appear in many of the major functional areas of a business firm. Accounting, finance, marketing, information technology, supply chain management, and other areas of business all have their own particular brands of ethical dilemmas. In many cases, professional associations in these functional areas have attempted to define a common set of ethical standards, as discussed next. Accounting ethics. Most common ethical issues that arise when it comes to accounting are honesty and conflict of interest. Accountants can be faced with conflicts of interest where the self-interest of the firm may divide or in conflict with the company, similar to the things we saw that where the Sarbanes-Oxley Act looked to limit a lot of the offering or non-auditing consulting services by an audit firm. Examples of the U.S. accounting profession's effort promoting ethics are shown in the preceding slide after the next 6A. Financial ethics. Similar to what we talked about in accounting ethics, there are the dilemmas of conflicts of interest and dishonesty. Some of these stemming from where bribery can occur, or as well as the influence of the company that hired the firm is actually trying to regulate some of the outcomes. Some of the things that we've seen with this is where the Securities and Exchange Commission have approved the regulation best interest rule aim to give investors more information about their broker's complex pay incentives and other potential conflict of interest, all designed to limit the amount of ethical dilemmas that we see. Groups such as the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA, and Chartered Financial Analysts, the CFAA, look to guide members in the performance of their professional responsibilities to comply with ethical and professional conduct expectations. The integrity, competence, diligence, respect, and also done in an ethical manner, places the integrity of the investment profession for the interest of the clients above their own interest. Keeping within these guidelines helps to reduce the impact of ethical dilemmas. Marketing ethics. Marketing is the advertising, distributing, and selling of products or services, and usually within firms, the marketing department is the group that deals most directly with customers. With that in mind, some of the issues that are dealing within ethics within marketing are customer privacy, specifically for children, along with honesty and transparency. The AMA, American Marketing Association, adopts a code of ethics for its members, and this is to improve on adherence to applicable laws as well as honesty and fairness in marketing activities. Information technology ethics. One of the most complex and fast-changing areas in business is the area of information technology. Some of the challenges that involve is with dealing with the invasion of privacy, collection of data, storage of data, access to, and then also the personal and business information. Many companies have developed ways to protect this information, but the ever-growing focus of how this is expanding on the internet and due to the multitude of confidential communication and electronic monetary transactions, as well as copyright protection, continued focus in this area is needed. Groups that look to influence the professional codes of conduct in marketing and information technology are the American Marketing Association and the Association for Computing Machinery. As marketers, they realize that we must do no harm, avoid harmful actions or omissions, or embody high ethical standards adhering to all applicable laws and regulations. They also must foster the trust in the marketing system and that they practice the core values of honesty, responsibility, fairness, respect, transparency, and citizenship. Similar to what we saw with accounting ethics, supply chain ethics also deals with issues like honesty while having the professional code of ethics that their managers are guided by. The example we see within Japanese metal manufacturer that lied to their clients about the certification and quality of their metals. This dishonesty led to further issues that the company tried to cover up. These type of instances are those where the customers are impacted long-term, as well as the credibility of the industry and the companies that provide the services can also have damaging impact. Similar to the other professional associations that their ethical conduct is presented in the prior exhibits 6A and 6B, the Institute for Supply Management developed its principles and standards of ethical supply management conduct with guidelines that emphasize integrity, value, and loyalty across 10 main principles. Avoid impropriety, conflict of interest, negative influences, be responsible to your employer, suppliers, and customers, and social responsibility and sustainability practices, protect confidentiality, avoid reciprocity, follow applicable laws, regulations, and trade agreements, and exhibit professional competence. Building ethical safeguards into the company, as well as ethical leadership, requires that managers and employees both need guidance on how to handle day-to-day ethical situations. Their own compass may be aligned, but they also need to receive additional instruction and guidance from the company. The different approaches that companies have taken usually lead to an increase in their sense of integrity and commitment to the organization, as well as a willingness to deliver bad news to supervisors and their perception that better decisions were made. An example of an ethical servant leader is Cheryl Balchelder, the CEO of Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. Popeyes had been in deep financial trouble. Balchelder envisioned a culture based on 6 ethically grounded principles that were focused on serving people: passion, listening, planning, coaching, accountability, and humility. She called these principles a living plaque. It is something that has been successful to pull Popeyes out of the financial trouble they were, and has further increased their visibility and support of their business each day. In addition to having ethics policies and codes, companies should also make sure that they circulate and review the policies frequently among employees throughout the company to ensure that they avoid conflicts of interest as well as maintain the security and propriety of information. As well, ethics and compliance officers have been put into place. During the 80s, a lot of the ethical lapses from large corporations saw the need for a separate compliance officer to be able to influence and maintain the integrity of the ethics group, and as well as set the direction for company ethics and compliance policies. Ethics reporting mechanisms. Ethics reporting systems typically have three uses: to provide interpretations of proper ethical behavior involving conflicts of interest and the appropriateness of gift giving, to create an avenue to make known proper authorities allegations of unethical conduct, and to give employees and other corporate stakeholders a way to discover general information about a wide range of work-related topics. Employees are usually able to go to their immediate supervisor or someone else in management, but there is also manners set up by companies to have a helpline or the ability to send an anonymous tip through an email system expressing their concerns. 3M is a company that maintains a reputation for its personal integrity, shared values, and ethical business practices around the world. They go by some simple principles: be good, be honest, be fair, be loyal, be accurate, and be respectful. Main principles that seem fairly easy to carry out, but again, 3M has done well to make sure that they roll this information out to their teams and also not just read it, but they also practice this. Karina Vollmer, PAE's Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer, is a Defense and Public Services contractor based in Virginia. She's responsible for oversight of the company's ethics and compliance program as well as code of conduct. Prior to joining PAE, she was a senior legal compliance counsel for Tata Communications in Herndon, Virginia for 3 years and in their Singapore office for 4 years prior. She graduated from Boston University School with her Juris Doctorate and from the University of San Diego with a Bachelor's of Arts degree major in International Relations and a minor in Business Administration. Ethics training programs. Several companies take additional steps to build ethical safeguards and offer employee ethics training. This not only focuses on having familiarity with what the ethical value and ethical compliance manners are, but as well as establishing a culture where ethics, doing the right thing for the right reason, is instilled in our employees. Most ethics and compliance training programs focus on making sure the employee knows what the law requires and the company expects, though several companies have gone further to making sure that the company employees also take part in the ethical culture of the company. In assessing the strengths and weaknesses of a comprehensive ethics program, Figure 6.2 outlines the benefits of employee ethics training programs within organizations. They've identified that it reduces liability, increases reporting and speaking up from employees, improves trust and leadership from employees, improves the employee morale, as well improves the mastery of ethics and compliance issues. As more corporations are doing business in a global aspect now, it also comes with more complex ethical challenges. Bribery is one of those where it introduces an economic force that is not based on product or services quality or other sales categories. It is based upon mainly influencing somebody in a monetary manner. A Berlin watch group agency, Transparency International, publishes a survey that ranks countries by their level of corruption. This is a mechanism to help keep us as consumers advised of what may be a complex and ethical challenge corporation. In some settings, corruption is so common it's almost unavoidable. Significant economic as well as ethical consequences result. Mithili Rahman, a former senior executive of the Department of Justice, explained, "Our fight against foreign corruption is so critical for so many reasons. The corrosive effects of transnational corruption are felt not just overseas, but also here in the United States. Although we may not experience as acutely as personally some of the consequences of foreign bribery, such as hospital roads that go unbuilt because infrastructure funds are siphoned off by a corrupt official, American companies are harmed. They're denied the ability to compete in fair and transparent marketplace instead of being rewarded for their efficiency, innovation, and honest practices. U.S. companies suffer at the hands of corrupt governments and lose out to corrupt competitors. As business expands in the global marketplace, so do the efforts to curtail unethical practices. An organization's culture and ethical work climate play a central role in promoting ethics at work and encouraging employees to act ethically. Many businesses have implemented many safeguards to create an effective ethics program. The challenges remain as organizations expand their operations globally and encounter a complex network of different customs and regulations. Focus on this will continue to be increasingly necessary to maintain that the businesses are operating ethically and do serve the consumer as they say. In summary, the ethical climate of a company shapes the attitudes and actions of everyone that works there. Not all ethical issues in business are the same, but they do occur in all major functional areas of a business. Companies can improve their performance by creating values-based ethics programs, as well as relying on ethical leadership and organizational safeguards. Companies that have a comprehensive and multifaceted program usually tend to do better to promote ethical behavior. And ethical issues such as bribery are evident throughout the world. Many international agencies and governments are actively attempting to minimize that behavior.